Hi, I'm Kathleen King. Ever wondered if there was anyone who could actually prove or disprove God's existence? Well, there is. She is clinical psychologist and researcher Dr. Lynn Atwater. How does she do it? By using simple deductive logic. Only this time, there's a difference. Dr. Atwater makes only one assumption, that God is a creator. The rest she leaves to logic. The results are surprising. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Now, just like in all logical procedures, there is one rule, and it's always the same. The proof can have no contradictions. That's because contradictions are universally invalidating. Let me give you an example of the kind of contradiction we're talking about. Let's say you asked me to define what my house was like, and I said that my house was a house that was completely empty. But then I told you that if you really needed something, I could go inside my empty house and get it for you. Now that would be contradictory, or impossible. That's because the definition of my house would propose being both true and false at the same time. So no contradictions. That's only logical, and that's the only rule we have to follow. Now we should have a definition for God. We have to define God so that we all know whose existence it is we're proving. Webster's dictionary defines God as creator and ruler of the universe. What that means is that if there is creation, God can exist. Of course, the opposite is also true. If creation weren't possible, God's existence wouldn't be possible either. In a word, the existence of one depends on the existence of the other. Lastly, let's define creation. This is important because without creation, God can't exist. Using Webster's again, we see that creation is a bringing into existence. Bringing into existence means making something exist that didn't exist before. So by definition, a creator would have to make something from nothing. Otherwise, he wouldn't be a true creator, but just someone like you or me. We're good at taking stuff that's already around and transforming it into something else. But of course, that's not creation. That's just transformation. For God really to be God, he has to make something from nothing. And that, right there, unfortunately, creates a problem. And it's kind of a big one. You see, if we say that for creation to be possible, something has to come from nothing, that's exactly like saying that even though my house is completely empty, I can get you anything you need from it. And a house like that, we already decided, couldn't exist. So if creation means that something has to come from nothing, and nothing is really what it is supposed to be, nothing. Either you have nothing to start with, or you have something. But you can't have it both ways. Creation can't be two opposite things at the same time. And one more thing. Please think of this. If creation had to begin from nothing, that means that the Creator himself couldn't exist either before he began to create. That's a bad situation to be in if you have any real work to get done. I mean, how can you create anything if you can't be around to create it? So just one more time. Since creation means that something has to come from nothing, creation is a contradiction, and therefore impossible. So where does that leave God? I guess pretty much nowhere. As we saw right from the beginning, if creation is impossible, so is God. Now, I know that went pretty fast, but that's the way Dr. Atwater says basic truths are. They're self-evident. The problem is that sometimes they're so obvious, so right in front of us, that we can't see them at all. To help with that, just keep this in mind. If you find that an idea has to be both true and false at the same time, the thing that idea represents doesn't exist.